Forward to the cloud. Awesome. 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 All right. So, Dave, we're going to have you speak. You are our guest. We are very excited to have you, Keely and I, and we're very grateful that you're taking time out of your day. So thank you in advance. Really quickly, before we get started with our revenue share, we always let Mark and Drew just give us a quick update on what's going on in the market from the mortgage perspective. So let's go ahead and have Drew and Mark do that as always for just a couple of minutes. And then Dave, we're going to get right into it with you. We'll continue to let guests in because I'm sure there'll be many more that'll join us here in the next couple of minutes, which is usually the case. So Mark, Drew, how are you guys today?
Doing wonderful, Carrie. Hope you are.
I'm amazing.
No doubt about it. This is a great attendance considering that most of you probably just spent 5 to 7 days in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Well, I hope you all had a great time there. We'll be real quick because I know Dave's got a lot of great stuff to share with us today. One thing I did want to highlight for you all, we have, if you're local to the Charlotte area, in and around, we've got our second series in our monthly events. That's coming up on November the 1st, where we're going to have Colin Niebauer with Karis Appraisal Management giving us an overview of what we're seeing in the market with the changes going on and what they're seeing from our appraisal perspective. So if you can make it, we'd love to see you there. I'm going to post a link in the chat here where you can register. The event's going to be at 3 o'clock Tuesday down at Movement's headquarters, and then we'll follow it up with a happy hour afterwards. So look forward to seeing you there if you're local here to Charlotte. Otherwise, I'm just going to lead off with just something I came across that we all need to be equipped for when we're talking to our clients right now. It's 3 questions that we're probably hearing in the market, and I want to help arm you with some good answers for it. So the first question that you're probably hearing from your clients pretty significantly is, will mortgage rates continue to rise? And I think the answer to that in the near short term is yes, right? As the volatility continues, I do think we'll see mortgage rates continue to rise. So we are looking somewhere right around 7% right now for well-qualified borrowers on that. However, there is some good news in the not so distant future. We expect to see some inflation readings get replaced with some better numbers, which should in turn bring mortgage rates down. I'm going to share another link. It's about a 30-minute video with a guy named Barry Habib speaking with an economist just on what their predictions are for mortgage rates in the coming 6 months. So if you got 30 minutes to spare, or you want to put it on in the car while you're driving, got some great insight. I listened to it this morning. Another question that you're probably getting frequently is what's going to happen with home prices, right? Are they going to crash? Are they going to continue to come down? Well, some markets, right? Maybe your Denver's, your San Francisco's, Los Angeles's, where you just had crazy appreciation run wild, right? They might see some moderate depreciation happen, maybe 5-6%, things of that nature, but not nearly enough where you can call it a crash. But we've got to look still hyper locally and what's going on with your real estate market when people are asking those questions. So best thing to do is take a big picture look at what's going on in the country and then drill down to that information here locally in your market. So as we look at Charlotte and the Southeast, those continue to be really hot cities that people want to continue to move to. So there's not really any forecasted depreciation. In fact, looking at mid-single digits appreciations in those areas in the next 12 months as well. You still got the market fundamentals supporting moderation of appreciation rather than a sharp decline, which is all good news. And then that really parlays into, should I buy a home right now, right? Well, record equity gains are going to really provide a financial buffer should economic conditions worsen. So people, if we do see people lose their jobs and things of that nature, people have the equity in their home that they can live off of until they get back on their feet if they've lost their job. The other thing to really, I think about too, is for most households, the majority of households, wealth creation is created in the form of home equity. Most households don't have the ability to form wealth outside of investing in their home and owning their home. So that continues to be a big driver for why it's important that people should be buying homes right now. And then it's a long game, right? If it's something where you think you might only be somewhere for 2 years, buying a home may not be right for you, right? And I think that's our jobs to give people the right information to say, if you're only going to be here for 2 years, renting probably is a better option for you. But if you see this as something that you're going to be in for the long term, that forced savings account that comes along with the equity gains, then it's a great time to buy a home still, because you have your rights back as a buyer and you can actually negotiate again, which we're all excited about from the buy side. So I hope those questions and those answers can arm you for the questions that you're getting with your clients right now.
Awesome. Always good information. Any questions, comments, thoughts on that? Drew and Mark, please, as always, put your contact information and any other information that you want in the chat. You guys grab it from there. Any other comments, questions? Okay. We've got a lot of new people on today, it looks like, which is super exciting. When we were at EXPCon, we were inviting a lot of people to EXP Family Tree because we do these trainings literally on a daily basis. Just as a reminder, we have our revenue share huddle on Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We do trainings on productivity or, other opportunities within EXP. And that's every Tuesday, Wednesday. The third Thursday, we have a growth call. So you guys are all invited to join these. They're live streamed here in EXP Family Tree. We do record them and put them on my YouTube channel, and it's open to anyone. So you can share this Zoom link with guests, friends, and people within your revenue share group. Of course, if you know people who are not a member of EXP Family Tree, this is open to everyone in EXP, so please invite them. Okay, without further ado, Keely and I are very, very excited because today we have an awesome guest with us. You see just an amazing background there, the Level Up EXP with the rocket ship behind him. Dave Gagnon is with us today, and he is giving of his time, which we are super grateful for. As you guys are going to notice, we have a guest ready to speak with us and share their successes and help us build our own revenue share organization. And they're all willing to give of their time. So we've got guests set up for the rest of the year. So you guys don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss this on Mondays. This is an opportunity for you to hear what other people are doing in our company, and they're just willing to share. And if there's one thing that I had learned at EXPCon, as you all know, that was my first EXPCon, having been here for just a year now, is that everyone is so ready to share. And that is just quite amazing. I mean, honestly, I had been at a previous company that was known for their collaboration. And this collaboration, in my opinion, was like nothing else I've seen anywhere else, which is pretty amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself in your own words, if you don't mind, Dave. Dave is one of the top revenue share growth individuals in EXP Realty. And that's why I say, like, we're very grateful for you to be here, because I'm sure you have a lot that you could be doing. One thing I wanted to mention, that Dave specializes in mergers and acquisitions. He's launched a lot of new offices, relaunched existing offices. He's been a recruiter of top agents. He's great at building culture. He helps business owners through his consulting, his training, his coaching. So he is going to bring us a wealth of knowledge today, I believe, for those of you that are doing this, want to do this, or maybe have, some broker owners, some big team leaders that you have relationships with, and you just haven't figured out exactly how to move the needle forward and bringing them over, or at least getting them to open their heart and mind to EXP Realty. And so, Dave, you've been here since 2013, is that right?
Yes.
And in that time, we're over 4,000 people in your revenue share group. Is that correct?
So I joined 10 years ago as
Okay.
agent number 123. We were in 14 states at the time.
Wow.
And so I was a team leader for a company with a red and white logo out there, and I rebuilt 7 offices for them. So Jason Gessing asked me to come over and help build EXP at the time. And I said, no, thank you. I'm never coming. 6 months later, he called me back and he asked me a better question. He said, Dave, I'm not a professional recruiter. You obviously are. What would you say to someone that you wanted to be in business with who wasn't open-minded?
Oh, wait a minute. Can you repeat that? That's amazing. I gotta write that one down.
It's on the recording.
I know.
So, yes. What would you say to someone that you want to be in business with that wasn't open-minded? And I thought about it and I said, well, Jason, I would ask them, or I would tell them that it would be fiscally irresponsible to say yes or no to a business opportunity without fully understanding the business opportunity. And then there was silence on the phone. And then he said this was classic. He said, Yeah, that. So I closed myself for the meeting.
That is epic. Oh my gosh. I hope you guys wrote that down. I did type in the chat box, but it is fiscally irresponsible as a business owner to say no to something that you don't even know what you're saying no or yes to. And I think that's a really fantastic segue into this conversation, which is, you don't have to be a great recruiter to be able to broach these sorts of subjects with people that you have a relationship with or that you've seen be successful because you really would like the opportunity to share with them, right? I mean, that's a limiting belief a lot of us have. We have to be an experienced recruiter to do this. And I don't necessarily agree. And clearly that was a great example, Jason coming to you and just, not knowing what to do, but man, it worked.
Right. Well, and so then be respectful of what you're asking for, right? So Jason asked for 15 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And so I agreed to 15 minutes on a Sunday night after I fed my kids so I could be home before they went to bed, so I could be a good dad, right? So we met halfway in between, which was a good move, right? It wasn't all incumbent on me because I wasn't looking, I wasn't begging, right? So it made me feel that we're collaborating.
Mhm.
In the first 15 minutes, I felt my entire life shift, right? Because if what he was telling me was the truth, I was going to have to change something because I was recruiting to market centers that had a cap of $30,000 with royalty. This model with 16,000 was coming in. If the training was collaborative, if it was going to be national, I was going to have to change something, either in my market center operations or in my career.
Yeah.
And so it took 2.5 hours, and Jason was kind enough to spend all the time with me. And I was drilling in, what about this? What about this? Oh yeah, you're going to go public? What, how are you going to do that? Right? All of that. At the end of 2.5 hours, I stood up, I shook his hand, and I said, I'm in. He goes, fantastic. What does that mean? I said, I'm resigning tomorrow. This was on a Sunday night. I'm resigning tomorrow. He said, well, you can't. We're not even open in New Hampshire. I need your help recruiting the state broker so we can open. They weren't open where I ran market centers. I couldn't go into my database. I was an owner of a market center, so I had a non-solicitation for a period of time. And so my world was shut down, and I had to do what most of us need to learn how to do. I had to build new relationships. I had to create curiosity, and I had to present to people who didn't know me, like me, trust me yet. Yep. Right? So that was 10 years ago. Today, I have 93 frontline, so less than one a month, which seems fair and reasonable. All right. So I know people get discouraged because it's like, oh, Ricky Carruth added 170 people in his first year. Mike Sherrod added 190 people his first year, whatever those numbers are. And people think, I can't be that. Yeah. Well, maybe not. But could you attract one a month, less than one a month on average? If you didn't get one this month, you're on target.
I love it. And I love that you say that. So in the 10 years, your 93 people in your front line have equated to how many in your total group, Dave?
5,150.
5,150. And this is after 10 years. How many of you are planning to be in this business in some way, shape, or form in the next 10 years? I mean, even if it's part-time, even if it's helping an agent, but to keep your license, right? So we do, Dave, a lot of us think we've got to hurry up, and this is a get rich quick. And if we're not making money in our first year to the tune of, thousands of dollars, like we're just failing. And that isn't true. If you look at so many of the people that have been at this company for the last 5 to 10 years, it's a very common thing to hear one person a month, one every other month. And these numbers equate to 2, 3, 4, 5, 8,000 people, which is life changing. And we all are going to be needing and wanting that exit strategy and that opportunity of wealth building and passive income in 5 or 10 years from now. It's not all just about, today. This is about building a future, right, Dave?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So first, be a great real estate agent. Treat people with respect and kindness. That makes you attractive. right? Then serve them by helping with something, right? If you're doing market reports, share it with others. If you have referrals, share it with others. If you're doing a training event, share it with others. If the company is streaming free certification on the commercial side, share it with others, right? So by being a giver, people will pick up your phone because you're not asking them for things. You're giving them things. And so my longest conversion was 9 years. So 9 years ago, I started talking to this guy, and every 6 months, some form of communication, either a birthday wish, holiday, a text message, something. And he always responded, but he was never willing to talk again because he understood the model and he was all set. Finally, about 4 months ago, I was able to talk to him about something different, a slightly different angle, and we got into a deeper conversation, which allowed me to start solving problems. But it took me that amount of time to learn enough about his problems to show him how to move away from them towards the pleasure. And now we're fantastic business partners.
Wow. Yeah, you know, Dave, in that being a giver and just being the best version of yourself and helping others and sharing trainings and, you know, doing all of those things, that is something that comes just very naturally to me. And I've done this for years. And, you know, I'm not a recruiter that, you know, does a tremendous amount of cold calling, and that has never been my mode of operation. And yet I've recruited, I also was a team leader of the same company you were. And, you know, there was 101 people recruited in a year, multiple years over, just with myself, not with another team leader. And it was simply by consistently reaching out to people and offering them something. And 99.9% of the time, they would never take me up on it. Like, no one was showing up to the trainings. No one was necessarily, they might've said, hey, thanks for the invite. And I always tell people it's more about your intention, and it's more about your consistency of giving and showing up for people than it is how they receive it, or if or when, because we don't know when people's timing is going to be right oftentimes, but we've got to be there often enough in order for the timing eventually to be right.
Exactly. So I can't tell you how many times someone has told me, oh my God, Dave, I can't believe I was just thinking of you and I was going to give you a call.
Yes.
What that means is the last time we spoke, I paid attention to when I thought the next contact point was, and then I was diligent about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, everyone is coming. There'll be 2 models. There'll be Coke and Pepsi, and then, you know, some knockoff brand, right? This is where this is going, because it is simply better. The only people who won't come are people who put themselves in a position where they cannot, like maybe they own a franchise and contractually they cannot come, or if they're so new, they don't know anything about anything, and they through ignorance, they end up in the wrong place, and they'll come eventually. So I think giving enough time, enough voices, everyone's coming.
Yeah.
Can I give you what I think the most important thing is before
Yes,
you
please.
before you talk about EXP with anybody? Ask yourself, what is their pain point? And if you don't know what it is, you haven't done your job yet. So number 1, what is their pain point? Number 2, how does EXP solve that pain point?
Yeah.
If you know that, then you know enough to talk about EXP. But Brian Collane coined the term EXPing on somebody, right? Let's not do that, right? I like my phraseology. We are attractologists, not recruiters. My job is to learn the art and the science of attraction. Right. So someone could say, well, I'm not an artist. I don't have the charisma, whatever. No, but you could be a scientist and learn a process, a procedure to follow. Right. And so if you do that and you find what's their pain point, what's the one thing they would change? How does EXP solve that? And then you move forward. Right. So there was a point in my career where I never asked for the recruit to sign on the first meeting. The reason is I wanted the first meeting to be a coaching session or an exploratory session so I could take in enough information and think about it enough that when I came back to them, I had a strategy plan, which involved them joining me and following the plan, right? So now I've been doing it 25 years, and now I've done it enough times that I can hear the problem and transition into solution faster. But in the early days, I would recommend slowing down a little bit, right? So I'd like to have a conversation with you about your career. Where are you now? So can I role play through a typical conversation?
Yes.
Okay, so Carrie, what role do you want to play? Do you want to be an agent who does one deal a year, one deal a month? What's a good target for the role play? I just want to know who I'm calling first.
Let's do a producing agent for sure, a capper, maybe an icon, because I know a lot of us are having those conversations and trying to figure out how to do this. So let's start with capper. So I do
Okay.
6, 7, 8 sales a year.
Okay, and so I'd like to do another role play with an icon conversation separately.
Perfect.
Okay, so you do enough where you do 15 deals a year, let's say, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna follow a pattern. I want everyone to pay attention to the pattern. I call it CATS, C-A-T-S. I am going to compliment her. I am going to use an attraction statement. I'm going to use a takeaway statement, and then I'm going to set the expectation. So let's see how this rolls out in a role play. Hey, Carrie, this is Super Dave over here at EXP. Do you have a quick 5 minutes for a business call?
Sure. What's going on, Dave?
Well, listen, Carrie, I've been following you for years, and you're an absolute rock star, and I love how you do your business. Your marketing is spot on, your photo is fantastic, and I see you being consistent on the MLS leaderboard all the time. Congratulations.
Well, thanks. That's nice of you.
Well, I was thinking about who do I want to partner with in your area, and I know you're probably not interested in taking a move at all. However, if the opportunity were right, really right, would you be open-minded to learning more?
Yeah, I mean, maybe at some time. I am super busy right now, Dave.
Fantastic. So now we've moved through the CATS. I paid a compliment. I had an attraction statement, which would be partnering with me as a leader in the area. I did the takeaway. You're probably not interested. And now we're in setting the expectation mode. So probably not, right? And so maybe sometime in the future. Fantastic. So Carrie, if the opportunity was so good that if we talked again in a year and you were upset with me, why didn't he tell me more a year ago? I'm so bummed I missed the opportunity. Wouldn't it make sense to know what it was today? So if you're going to make a change in the future, you would be better prepared.
I mean, it makes sense. But I mean, I just don't have very much time. So like, how long would this take, Dave?
Well, if you want, we can do 10 minutes and move on. And if you're not interested at the end of 10 minutes, I won't call you again for at least 90 days. Fair enough?
That sounds fine.
Okay. So now I can go into what I call my 5 pillars conversation. And so let me ask you a question, Carrie. Looking in the MLS, it looks like you did about 15 deals in the last 12 months. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Now, let me ask you, what's your goal for the next 12 months?
Well, I would like to increase that. I'm happy with 15, but I think I have a lot more in me. I'd like to do 2 a month.
So you would like to go from 15 to 24?
Yeah.
Now, Carrie, I heard you use the words, I would like to.
Mm-hmm.
However, in a perfect world, if you could write any number, what would you like that number to be? In a perfect world, what would your real goal be?
My real goal would be double that, so 30.
30. Well, fantastic. That's a fantastic goal. Carrie, let me ask you a question. What's missing in your business model today? Why aren't you there today?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, but really it's just I spent a lot of time trying to figure out my technology and get my systems right. And I'm not really fast at that. So I think I spend a lot of time doing things that are not revenue generating, but I know that they'll, build up for me to be able to do more later.
Okay. And is there any other reason besides slow integration on the technology?
I'm not making enough calls.
Okay, so is it a focus issue or is it a leadership issue from who you're partnered with?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I like my broker and I like my leaders a lot. I probably don't go to them enough for, help because I'm kind of independent. I just do my own thing.
Gotcha. Let me ask you a question, Carrie. If you could collaborate with other like-minded people on a weekly basis and learn the best from the best and what they're doing and how they're iterating to the next position in their real estate business, do you think that would give you more velocity?
Yeah, I mean, I think collaboration's always good. I would just have to feel like it's valuable in order for me to show up and take my time every week, because I just feel like I'm already spending time doing things that are not generating me revenue.
Absolutely. And so sometimes it's an exchange. I'm doing this and it's not generating revenue, and I'm doing this and it's leading me to generate more revenue. So sometimes it's just reallocating the time that we're already spending. Make sense?
Yeah.
So when we do talk about the business, I can show you at least 3 additional ways to add income into your business. At least 3, create multiple revenue streams, and get you in a position where you have more time back. Let me ask you this question, Carrie. Which is more appealing to you? To make more money or to have more time freedom to enjoy the money that you are making?
I would say right now it's important for me to make more money because I'm doing my 15 transactions. And although that's good, it's not quite what I want and need to be making financially for me to be able to, build wealth long-term and for retirement. So it would be ideal to have, some better work-life integration, but I do need to make more money right now.
Fantastic. So now I can focus on how you can make more money here, right? So now, what is your cap split situation where you are now? If I was in your local market, I would know. If you were in my former KW Market Center, I would know that you're on 70-30 and you're paying a $27,000 cap and you're paying a $3,000 royalty. And so if I knew that, I could go into, well, Carrie, if you were here with our split cap, you would have an additional $10,000 in your business. Would that help you generate more leads?
Yeah.
Okay, so Carrie, now that you put tech in place, are you keeping track of your cost of sales?
No, I haven't really put anything together. I don't really know my true financials at this time. That is something I want to do for next year.
Could I give you some average math? Because I've done this 1,000 times and I know yours is going to be a little different, but I can walk you through this accountability at the end of every year and help you out, right?
Sure.
Because knowing your numbers is important, but let me give you some averages. So I have 2 homes, right? Manchester, the average sale there generates about a $6,000 commission. And in Florida, the average sale is well over $1 million. I'm not licensed in Florida, so I'm just going to use the smaller number. And we can dig into yours in a coaching session. However, so in New Hampshire, the average commission there is about $6,000. And if you look at the average cost of a lead that converts to a sale and you do the math, it works out to be about 10% cost of sales. And so if you make a $6,000 commission, if you're paying more than $600 to generate that sale, that's not a good ROI. If it's less than that, it's a good ROI. Can you agree with those numbers?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the average commission, not yours, but the average commission in your area?
8,000.
8,000. Okay. So I would suggest that for every $800 you spend, you should be able to generate 1 more sale. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so I'm just going to, if you give me permission to share a screen, I'll pull up a little calculator so everyone could just see the math.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay, let me just come back here. Share my screen and
Come on, guys.
simple calculator, right?
Okay.
So Carrie, let's say your cap is 30,000. And so I'm going to do 30,000. That's 30,000 cap plus royalty in this story. And I'm going to subtract that from 16,000, which would be our cap here because you would be a capper.
Yeah.
That leaves $14,000. Now you said your math would be about $800 per sale to generate another sale. So that means if we saved you that money and you put that savings into your marketing that you already do, that you already know the math on, that would generate another 17 transactions a year. That would bring you above your 30 number. How would you feel if we hit those numbers?
It'd be great.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. If you marched into your broker this afternoon, because you still got time, march into your broker right now and say, I want to double my business through lead generation in the systems that I already know, and I don't want to pay you $30,000 anymore. I only want to pay $16,000 for the rest of my life with you. Here's the adjustment to my ICA. Please sign it now or I'm leaving. Would they sign it or would they tell you you have to leave?
Yeah, I don't think they're flexible on the cap where I'm at.
Okay, well, so you might have to come to EXP and I would be glad to sponsor you here and show you all the stuff that you have here. Now, when you're doing your list of demands, I want you to write one more thing. When you do $16,000 there and you do these additional 17,000, these other 17 transactions with your total transaction count being over 20 plus your cap, you also want them to buy you $16,000 worth of stock in any publicly traded company that they choose to. And if they do that, you'll stay. Otherwise, you have to leave because it would be fiscally irresponsible to stay.
That's right. So you just got me from a capper to an icon agent using the savings in the cap. And now I'm going to get that full $16,000 back in my stock as well because I'm over the threshold of icon.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So this is the mic drop moment, right? So you don't have to do a full presentation. They do need to understand everything about it before they make the move. But conversationally, I think I did an effective job of moving you through the process.
So this is a great aha for me, Dave, which is at that beginning stage of just having that 10, 15, 20 minutes, because we are being respectful of time. We want to give them enough to have them say, yeah, I want to dig more into it. A lot of us try to go right into the full presentation right away, and it just loses people. It's too much. And so this is going to be the hook that creates the curiosity that makes them say, I am being fiscally irresponsible here by not looking further into it, right?
Right. So let me walk you through another dialogue. Write this down. NEADS. So you already told me some of the information. And so I'm just going to walk you through. I've asked you enough questions in our dialogue that I think I can do this effectively. So, Carrie, we know that you're at a brand that you like. We know that you're paying $30,000. We know that you like the autonomy. They leave you alone. They don't overly manage you. We know the thing you would like to alter or change is you would like to be able to double your production and you don't know how to do it. However, we also found the money in what you're currently spending to transition you. So, Carrie, when you're ready to make the decision, who else would be involved in that? Do you have a partner or a spouse or team members that you would like to be involved in that?
Nope, it's just me.
Fantastic. Well, what I'd like to do is schedule the next conversation. I'm looking at my calendar. I have an hour tomorrow available, and I really want to make sure you understand all of the benefits of being here, not just the money. And so do you have time tomorrow by 10 o'clock?
Yeah, that should work for me. Okay.
And if they said no, I'd say, well, I have some more time on Friday, or is next week better? So the NEADS is what's happening now. What do you enjoy about now? Because if I can't match what you enjoy, you're not coming. What would you alter or change? You told me you would like to do more transactions. You told me that you would like to get some personal benefit, some more time work balance in there. I didn't even go into that yet. I'm saving that for the punch if I need it. And then the D is who else is involved in the decision, because if I'm going to do the full presentation, I want a spouse, a partner, a team involved, because I don't want one more step. And then the S is set the schedule or set the next expectation. So needs, NEADS.
Awesome. I just put it all in the chat, you guys, so you have this. Take this stuff down. That is fantastic. Okay, so you pretty much showed us how to do this with a capper, and quite frankly, it moved into Icon, and we can do that same thing. Somebody asked in here, what do you do when somebody's at 100% company? What does that conversation look like?
Well, again, you got to tell me who's my audience. Is this someone at
Shannon, do you want to unmute and maybe do a role play with Dave on it since you asked? Are you available to do that?
I knew you were going to throw me under the bus. That's okay.
Are you free? Otherwise, I can do the.
No, I could do that. That's no problem.
Okay, cool.
Hey, Shannon.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. So first of all, are you at 100% company because you do 2 deals a year and you don't want to pay anything? Or are you doing 50 deals a year and you're killing it and you think it's the best deal in town?
I'm kind of in between. I'm probably, I don't know, 15, 20, 25, somewhere in that range.
Okay, well, fantastic. So I looked you up. I see you doing 15 to 25 or so. So you're on the border of being an icon with us. Would that be right in this story?
Not sure what an icon is, but yeah, go ahead.
No. I'm just trying to get the role.
I thought we were playing. I thought we were role playing. Sorry. Okay.
We're not role playing yet. I'm trying to understand my audience, which I would know before I called you.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, you're right on the border.
Okay, right on the border. Okay. All right. So you ready? I'm gonna kick it in.
All right.
Ring ring.
Hello.
Hey Shannon, this is Dave Gagnon over here at EXP. And I gotta tell you, I love what you're doing there. I've been tracking you. You just went over 25 deals in the last 12 months. What are you doing? You're growing like crazy. Tell me, give me the one thing that you're doing to be so successful.
Honestly, I've just been doing it a while and farming a neighborhood, really. I mean, that's kind of been my whole thing. I'm just, putting everything into this one neighborhood and I'm getting listings after listings after listings.
Fantastic. Well, absolutely fantastic. And I see you're at ABC Company. And if I understand the model correctly, it's one of the cheapest broker payouts in the area. Is that right?
Yeah, you can't beat it. It's 100% with a $350 transaction fee.
Okay, so help me with the math. 350 times 25 deals is how much?
I don't know. I'd have to count that up.
Well, I have my handy little calculator here. So you said 350?
Yep, 350.
350, and you said 25 deals.
Mm-hmm.
So that's almost $9,000.
Yeah, probably about right.
So I'm not a mathematician, but if I divided the $8,000 by your total GCI, there would be some percentage that you are paying them. Agreed?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So since you told me you're at 100% company and you're not, I would like to show you how to really be at 100% company.
Okay, I'm not sure how you'd do that, but okay, we could. I guess we could take a look at that.
Well, so Shannon, if there was a model that when you ran through the math at the end of it, you ended up with more money in your bank account, would that be a 100% model?
Yeah, but I'm not sure how you get more than 100%.
Well, it really depends on how you want to participate. So let me just run you through an example here at EXP. So for someone who does about 25 to 35 deals a year, you would be an icon agent with us.
Okay.
Has
and
anyone?
What exactly is an icon?
Okay, so since you asked the question, I'm going to assume that no one has shared this with you.
No, I mean, I've heard about you guys. I know you're a recruiting company and all that good stuff, but that's all I know.
Well, absolutely fantastic. So to be fair, EXP is a brokerage in real estate. That's what they do. EXP is not a recruiting company. However, EXP does have an element of our compensation plan where a leader like me or a leader like you could actually attract another agent to the model and get compensated for it, which creates another income stream into your life instead of you just paying a split in fees and caps.
It's kind of like a referral fee.
Kind of like a referral fee, not from the agent, but from the company.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right. Are you open? Are you open that if a company wanted to send you a referral fee, would you allow it to land in your checking or savings account?
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
do referrals. I do at least 2 or 3 a year.
2 or 3. Oh my God, 2 or 3 a year. That's amazing. Now, you probably make more in referrals than I do because I don't do any sales. However, in the last month, I got paid on 1,800 referrals.
1,800.
Well, I've been working my system for 10 years. So I didn't get 1,800 my first year, but the last month I got a little taste on 1,800 referrals because that's how our model works. May I
Well,
share with you?
that's interesting.
Now, in the coach, I'm going to step out of role play for a minute and go into coaching. If you've been here for a hot minute and you are not getting revenue share yet, you don't have that number. So you could say a business partner of mine or one of the top people I know at my company, however you position it, but this is truth, right? So
Well,
you can,
I'm under Sheila Fageron, so
yeah. So you
so
can
I
say
can give your number. I mean, of course, I do well with revenue share, not bad.
right. But so you can use your number, Sheila's number, whatever, right? So I'm
Mhm.
just doing it my conversation. It's my number. And before it was my number, I used someone else's number, right? And so 1,800 transactions, I made at least a penny on, up to a few $100s, and maybe the biggest one was $1,000, right? However, revenue share through 7 levels, that's how many transactions I got paid on, and it averages right around there. So let's jump back into the role play for a minute, Shannon.
Mhm.
Shannon. Okay, so Shannon, so the way our model works is you would pay up to $16,000 a year, hit a cap, and then your transaction fee wouldn't be $350, it would be $250. And once you've paid in $5,000, you get $16,000 back in stock, plus $200 in stock just for doing your first deal, plus another $400 in stock just for hitting the cap of 16. So now you're an icon and you've received $16,600 worth of stock, and you paid us $5,000 in cap transaction fees. So if we do the math, your total expenditure is less than your expenditure at your current 100% brokerage.
Yeah, because I'm at 9,000 now. That's saving four grand a year, roughly.
Saves $4,000 a year. And so if you just took the savings of the $4,000 and you put that into your lead generation, you could double down on what you're doing in that neighborhood or go to another neighborhood, whatever. Make sense?
Makes sense.
And you haven't recruited a soul at EXP yet, so we haven't even turned on the recruiting referral program. Now, the way that works, don't give me a last name, but in your area, who is the one rock star that you respect the most? Just the first name.
He's actually on my team, Steve. He's on this call.
Steve. Okay, well, fantastic. So Steve, so listen, if you showed this model with me to Steve and he decided to join, if you don't want revenue share, he doesn't have to name you as a sponsor. He could name me, but I would prefer, Shannon, that you say, if there's money on the table, I would like it for my family, please. And then he would name you. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. Now, if he names you and joins, as he goes on every sale that he does, EXP is going to pay you a referral of 3.5% called revenue share until he caps. So that's going to be around $2,800 a year.
Okay.
Now, just for round numbers, I always call it about 2,000. You okay with that?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So about a $2,000 referral every year for every capper that you refer. Do you like it or not like it?
That's pretty interesting. But you know what? I'm just not really a recruiter.
Well, here's the interesting thing. EXP, when Glenn, our founder, put this together, he was a visionary and he said, I'm going to put 3.5% referral on level 1 and a 4% referral on level 2. So people like Dave get paid more for helping Shannon than he would for being selfish with his time and only taking care of himself. And
That's
so
putting the agent first. That's something I've never heard of.
exactly. So here's what I want you to imagine. You get him to watch my video so he has the baseline presentation. So now I don't need to cover the basic stuff. And then we book him for an hour on my calendar and I will talk to him at a high-minded level so he can really understand the nuances that not everyone understands. And if he joins, Shannon, he's yours and we're business partners. Make sense?
Sounds like a deal.
Now, Shannon, you understand that the way our system works, it has set me financially free and I don't need to work. I'm doing this because I respect you and I want to build a partnership in your area. So I am not doing this because I need the money. I am not doing it out of necessity. I'm doing it, I'm giving of my time to help you and your family understand what has set me free in this business.
Love it. That's good stuff, Dave. Good stuff.
Okay.
Really good. Thank you. Thank you. That was, I mean, because that's one of the ones I've been struggling with is 100% brokerages. I mean, I'm going up against Fathom every single day.
Yep. Yeah. So look, if I do 2 deals a year and that's all I want to do, and I could just pay a little bit of money, that might be a better model for me. So let the weak agents hang their license somewhere like that, right? Fine. However, if someone really wants to make money, right? So one of the questions I like is, what do you drive for a car?
Me? You're asking me, or are you asking just them?
I'm role playing. So what do you drive for a car?
Chevrolet Silverado. I'm a truck
Okay,
guy.
Truck guy. Do you know there are cheaper cars?
Oh yeah, absolutely. By far.
So why aren't you driving the cheapest car?
Because I like trucks.
Okay, why aren't you driving the cheapest truck? You could probably buy a 10-year-old Ford somewhere with a little bit of rust, maybe some Bondo, have no payment. Why aren't you driving the cheapest truck that you can find?
Yeah, well, honestly, because I like the high country. I want the leather seats and all the amenities that come along with it.
So quality matters.
Absolutely.
They both would get you from home to where you're going and back again. They both would get a deal done. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking about brokers again. So why would you choose to go with the cheapest version of a model versus the one that has the best options for you, your career, your business partners, and your family?
Man, that's amazing, Dave. That is good. I mean, your scripts, man, are just
Gold.
absolutely amazing. I would love to be able to get these scripts somehow. I don't have to go back and transcribe this thing or something.
I'm gonna see if I can get some help from my VA in transcribing some of these scripts and putting them in EXP family tree, you guys, and then Dave can grab them if he wants to as well.
They're
Thank
amazing.
you.
Dave, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much. I mean, I've got a guy, like I said, right now with Fathom, he's doing 90 deals a year and I cannot get him to budge.
Okay, Shannon, for 90 deals a year, I have somebody with a small broker who's doing 95 transactions a year right now and can't get past the reality. In fact, she thought she'd pay more at EXP. In 90 transactions, she's like, it would just be more expensive for me to be at EXP. And I was like, wait, hold on. We actually had, now I'm going to give a disclosure here. We do not know what's going to happen with company stocks. We have to be really cautious here. However, we can do the math and say, if you did the agent equity program on your GCI of 95 transactions, plus being an icon agent, we can do the math and we can estimate and just use today's stock number and don't have it grow at all. It doesn't change. It's just based on today. We did a rendition of that. And in 3 years, it's $205,000 in company stock without any growth from today. So that's assuming in 3 years, nothing happens with the stock. That's just coming back to this person for doing the 95 transactions they're doing anywhere. So that alone, they're getting paid to be here, right? They're getting their cap back in the agent equity program, in the gifted stock at the 200 and the 400 every year for 3 years. I mean, that right there was what got me an appointment with her, because she wasn't thinking about that. She's just simply thinking about per transaction, which is just simply not the whole picture.
Wow, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Is there like a spreadsheet or something for that, or what?
I got it from Randy Wooters.
Okay, awesome.
So
Can you
find him, randyexplains.com. He'll do a free 15-minute call with you. I just asked, I mean, you know, he's a consultant, so I paid him for his time. Right. Obviously, there's a lot of disclosures that go into that, but we showed her also, though, the reality was, because she was paying per transaction, again, and then it did cap that she just wasn't spending more money here. So it's all of the things, right? It's like, if you did bring 5 friends in 3 years, which is a top producer, it would be almost impossible for you not to, even if you tried not to bring anybody to EXP. It's just going to happen. And she was like, well, yeah, 5 people in 3 years, I'm sure, even if they're new agents or whatever. So we did a very conservative revenue share projection based on his numbers, you know, and then we looked at the stock, and then we looked at the numbers, and it just, you almost, to Dave's point, it would be just so irresponsible not to consider moving to EXP after seeing that number. It would almost be like you couldn't, it's like you see something that you can never unsee again. You know, that's what happens in those moments. It's really difficult.
Wow. Great stuff. Great stuff. Thank you.
Dave, you have 8 more minutes. What will you leave us with?
Well, so this segment would be like an hour to really dig into it. So I'm going to give you the 8-minute version. So please get in the mindset of a broker owner who's been doing it for 10 years and they love their people, blah, blah. And I know you, right? Okay. So Carrie, the reason why I'm calling is I have mad respect for you. And I'd like to ask you just a couple of questions. You have 5 minutes for a business call? Okay. So Carrie, how many people at your brokerage today?
35.
35. And how many of them do you consider family?
All of them.
Okay. How many of them do you really, truly like?
90% of them.
90% of them. Carrie, you've been doing this for 10 years. Have they all been with you for 10 years, or are some of them less than 10 years?
Some of them are less.
Okay. The ones that were with you 10 years ago, have any of them left you?
Sure.
Okay. Now, some of them left you because they couldn't cut it in the industry. That's fine. But I bet some of them left you because they wanted to be the leader like you and your model didn't fit them.
Probably.
So let me talk to you about leverage, right? When I was a new agent, I wanted to work for a broker who was successful, who would train me and teach me. I was going to leverage them for everything I could get out of them so I could learn to be good and make a living at this thing. Fair?
Yeah.
The broker looked at me and said, this kid is willing to work hard. He's willing to learn scripts and dialogue. I get to leverage his sphere of influence and his time and effort and energy, and I'll give him a 50-50 split and he'll be happy with it. You understand?
Yeah.
So there was this leverage component, and both of us were happy. Then a year later, I'm the #1 agent in the office. I learned that there are people on a 70-30 split, and I did more than them. I go in and I say, I would like a 70-30 split, sir. And he says, no one gets a 70-30 split in less than 3 years. Get back to work. I said, okay. Then that next day, I got a phone call from a competitor who said, I'd like to talk to you about coming to work over here at ERA. And I said, man, I'm not interested. I like my broker. He's trained me well, blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, I want to give you a pay raise. Would you take lunch? I said, free lunch and a pay raise, I'm in, right? So I went there. So he gave me a raise. So I got a little bit more leverage on that. And he knew he was going to leverage me because I was well liked, and now he could use me to recruit other agents because now he had the success of developing me, but he recruited me, right?
Yep.
So eventually, every buyer specialist wants to be the team leader.
Mm-hmm.
Someday, every team leader wants to be the broker, and someday, every broker wants to be the franchisor. But the franchisor never wants the franchisee to learn how to leverage other leaders. The broker never wants the team leader to figure out how to be a broker and leverage the team leader model. And the team leaders never want their buyer specialists to figure out how to run a team and get free. We're in an industry that wants leverage, that can't give leverage. And EXP is the only model on the planet which allows someone to pour into someone and elevate them and bring in someone who's better than you and let the system set them free. Mic drop.
Shannon, are you just as as me right now? We've heard a lot of scripts. We've heard a lot of scripts, Dave. I don't know if we've heard them as good as these.
Pure fire, Dave. I mean, I've been in a lot of rev share huddles. This is pure fire.
Oh my gosh,
Well,
awesome.
tell leadership at EXP that they need to put me on stage on some platform because I could go another 4 hours.
We're gonna all be messaging people for that because we want to hear you more.
That was
That's amazing.
fire.
Any last questions? Because we have like 3 minutes. Does anybody have to say something to Dave? We want to give you guys time to do so if you do, or chat in the chat box. Your minds are as blown as mine. And Shannon and Keely's. Okay.
David, do you have any Zooms or?
And referrals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, Dave, you know, you've said a few things. There was a couple just quick takeaways, and I've used this ever since I heard Mitch Ryback say it, which is referral fees instead of revenue share. And that has been a game changer for me. But there's been some words here that you've said that really just stick out. And if there's anything I've learned in my 23 years in this business, words do matter. So we have to be really careful the words that we're using because people think differently and feel differently with different words that are used. So you mentioned a bunch of them that I wrote down, and I'm going to go back and watch this recording. I don't know if the rest of you all are. You can watch it live streamed in EXP Family Tree. Of course, you can go to Carrie Briner on YouTube, and at the bottom on the playlist, I'm putting all of our revenue share huddles and all of our trainings that we're putting on Tuesdays and Wednesdays in there so you can share them with people outside. I want to just share this video with a couple of people I'm recruiting. Hear me out. That are already like leaders and recruiters. I just want to send this recording and be like, just listen to what Dave has to say. What do you think? Because I think they're going to get sold just listening to Dave this video. I think I'm going to leverage you, Dave, and you're going to help me recruit them. I think it's brilliant.
Well, thank you so much for giving me a little bit of time in front of this amazing group. Thank you so much for creating an environment within EXP that we all can collaborate with each other, because we're truly partners through the stock program. We all do good. We all receive good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And thank you, Dave. And you guys, please keep inviting your friends. We have about 7,000 people here in EXP Family Tree. I know a couple people mentioned it on stage at EXP Con. We really do want people who feel like they don't have anything to plug into. They might be a little bit lost. Maybe their upline isn't as active, or maybe they're no longer in the business, or whatever the case may be. As Dave says, we all win when we all win in a lot of ways in this company. And we have so much that we can help each other out with and collaborate. So our goal, just so you know, is to get to 10,000 people as fast as possible here in EXP Family Tree, and then continue to pay it forward. And the last ask of you all is, if there's something that you believe you would bring value in a training, please reach out to me on Workplace, and let's get you in the training schedule, because we want to, bring you and your skills into the collaborative effort as a leader, as a producer, as someone having success as well. So please let us know if we can get you in this format and helping others as well, if that's important to you. We really appreciate all of you guys being here. Dave, thank you so much. So great to meet you. We really appreciate you.
There's a reason that they call him Super Dave.
I know. Now I know, Keely.
Right? Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
You so much.
Keely.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Guys,
Dave.
I'll see
Blow
you
my
on-
mind. Thank you. Good stuff.
All right, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.